Hello, and welcome to the Adapt Digital Solutions podcast. So, this is the first podcast that we've ever done, and we aren't podcasters, we are marketers. We work with around 150 different small businesses around the United States, and I've been making content for years. I've got my YouTube channel, Chuck The Contractor. Got hundreds of videos on there, somewhere around 15,000 subscribers. It's been a lot of fun. And my team's been watching me do this for years, and they've been envious of the whole content making process, and they've been wanting to get in on it. So this is their opportunity to do so, and I welcome you to join us. I don't want you to expect a ton of organization or high production value. We are literally just getting on a call and talking about things, sharing our experiences, stories about marketing, the businesses that we've worked with, success stories, failures, you name it. So if you're a small business owner and you're interested in marketing, if you're a contractor, if you're in home services, you're interested in growing your business, or if you're a marketer and you're interested in hearing war stories of people who have been in the trenches for years doing this stuff in the real world, this might be a good podcast for you. So this is our very first episode. We're just going to talk about a bunch of random things. In the next episode, episode 2, we'll be sharing specific stories about some of our projects, things that went well, things that didn't go so well. And I hope you enjoy.
So what makes us different from other marketing agencies? I would say that we're a niche company, and we have a specialization in location-based contractors and all the businesses that are joined to construction. Since you and me a little bit also have a background of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when I was talking to Wilson the other day, he said that was why he eventually came back to work with us, is because of our background, just working with construction companies a lot. We understand his business, and he tried working with other companies that just didn't. And so he learned it the hard way. But what would you say, Dino?
Years of experience as well, and working in different industries, not just remodelers, but electricians, plumbers, water well drillers, like any industry. Like, we've helped these guys get customers online. So we know what it takes. I would say that's one of the things that make us really stand out.
Mm-hmm. I would say that we don't do long-term contracts. That makes us pretty different than most of the other agencies out there.
Yeah, and people can decide month to month if they want to stick with us, and most of them do, over the years. So that tells a lot.
Yeah, I was just saying that earlier today, is like, we don't do long-term contracts. We have around 150 clients that work with us on a monthly basis. And the reason they do is because we get them results. Mm-hmm. And if we didn't, we wouldn't want them working with us.
That way, you got to deliver results on a month-to-month basis, compared to if you have a contract for like 6 months. Even if you don't do what you said you would do, people will stick. And people hate that, we had some experience, people coming from other companies to us that did long-term contracts, and you can kind of hear their pain, they were paying for something for months and it didn't work, but they couldn't stop because they had a contract with the other guy. And just, I don't think it's the right way to do marketing or business in general.
Yeah. I was talking to John the other day, the one I'm doing the audit with tomorrow. And he was saying that the other company does 2-year contracts.
Damn.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
That's absolutely insane. Could you imagine signing somebody up for 2 years and then being like, well, I don't have to do anything for 2 years, going to get paid.
Yeah.
And then there's some companies who get you in the contract, and then it's not so easy to get out. There are fines and so on. Well, I think we're doing pretty well, since our average client stays with us for 33 months.
Yeah. And we're only been around for 5-ish years. So we don't even know that number. It's probably way higher.
Yeah. Totally.
Okay. How exactly does a location-based contractors marketing actually work, guys? Starting from point zero, what is that they would require?
What do you think, Dino?
Well, when people look for contractors online, whether that's electrician, plumber, home builder, like whatever they need, they go to Google and they type down remodeler near me, plumber near me. So that's the place to be. Google is the playground. So you got to get visible. And the best way to do it is first on local maps so that you show the people that are close to you, your neighbors, and having a kick-ass website so they can actually figure out what you do. When you do that, there are other parts of Google you can get into, but that's the basics. Basically, get live on Google Maps. Some call it Google Business Profile on Google Maps, like whatever, and have the website. Like those are the two initial steps you need to take as a new company that is not live on Google right now.
Yeah, true that. I think like we've all been around for we've watched the internet mature, and everybody now, if you want to buy something, like most of the merchandise purchases these days are on Amazon. Like everybody's constantly buying stuff on Amazon. Like the Amazon guys dropping stuff off on my front porch, what seems like daily. And the whole internet is kind of becoming like Amazon. For home services, it's Google Maps is like the Amazon for that. And I've been explaining this concept for many years, and it's been fun to watch like the transformation of the people I'm talking to. Like 5 years ago, I would ask people like, do you use Google Maps to find a restaurant or, a local business? And like a lot of people would say yes, but like still some people would say no. But these days, like everybody shops the exact same way. They go to Google Maps, they type in what they want, or, maybe they don't go to Google Maps, they go to Google. But when they type in any kind of local servicey or local businessy type thing, Google pulls up Google Maps. And before we even read anybody's name or anything, we look at the little review stars and we find the one that has like the most reviews and the best rating. And then we start reading. And that's just how people shop online these days. And it's like 95 or 97% of people are doing it that way. And so like, as you said, if you want to market your local company, you do it on Google Maps first. That's because that's where people are looking for the most part. And then you make sure you have a competitive number of reviews, or people just won't even see you still. You might be showing up there, but they don't even see you because you don't have enough reviews to be looked at.
Yeah.
So the foundation here would be really a website and then a Google presence, right?
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Yeah, so why the website?
Well, first of all, like when someone even finds you on Google Maps, even though you have decent number of reviews, a lot of people would still want to do more research about your company. And the first place they're going to go to is your website, because on Google Maps, like Google controls what kind of info you can post in there, what kind of photos, what kind of description, what kind of offerings. But on the website, you have full control of what you can say about you, the company, and how you want people to perceive you as well. And most people coming from Google Maps, they will go to your website, find out more about your work. They want to find out more about who you are, who's the people behind the company, all of those sorts of things. Second of all, Google, just based on your Google Maps, like they won't rank you a lot and like super high on local rankings. Like they need some outside authority to figure out where you do the work, what kind of services, what kind of search terms they need to show you for as well. So it kind of works together, the two, so one doesn't go without the other in a way.
Yeah, I would add that, like, if somebody's looking at your company online on Google Maps or wherever, and then they look and you don't have a website, that's like that affects the way they think about you. They might think you're not as professional or whatever. Like everybody expects you to have a website, and Google's the same way. Like Google expects you to have a website. And so if you're in an area and you're competing with a bunch of other companies that have good websites and you don't, it puts you at a severe disadvantage, because that's one of the main trust factors in places that Google and people like look for information about you. So you mentioned foundation, like we view the foundation as the website, Google listing, and then like all the other mentions of your company online and how well all that information lines up and matches.
Yeah, and it also builds completely autonomous trust with your clients, right? People can actually find you organically online and see what do you do. Am I, as a client, ready to let you in my home? Because ultimately, usually it's my home that needs renovation, windows changed, doors updated, and so on. So as a business, you should build a trust with your client through your website and Google My Business account. That's why reviews and the response time is a big deal for a local lead generation, for your clients coming in and you being responsive and legit for them, right?
Yep, that's right. Yeah, these days you want to be able to get to people within a minute, ideally, because that's what some of your competitors are probably doing.
Yeah, and just like when someone looks for someone online, like for any company, they reach out to multiple companies. They want to cross compare the quotes, talk to all of them, see who they like the most. And, if one company calls them within 5 minutes and the other one calls them 3 days after, like it's super easy to figure out who they're going to go with, so you're not going to get the job.
Yeah, I talk to a lot of people who say that nobody calls them back. Like they'll inquire to a few remodeling companies and then I'll talk to them and they'll be like, oh yeah, you're the first person I've talked to. Nobody calls me back. It's like, what? It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's a weird way to run a business.
Same with the reviews on your Google My Business account. That is really something very, very crucial that moves your business up and forward. You're building a trust with not only with your client, but also with a Google algorithm. And, it shows you more often, you rank better. That's really something that is crucial. It's also crucial to answer to the reviews of your clients, the good and bad ones. If it's a bad ones, you just answer in a really professional way. Don't leave it without any attention that looks really unprofessional.
Hey, you mentioned that that people's behaviors like affect the algorithm, and that reminds me, I think it was 2023 that like this big leak happened. There's like this huge document about how Google uses like Google Chrome analytics to affect the algorithm. And it was a big deal at the time because they always said they didn't do that. But what they were doing is they would just basically spy on everybody who's using Chrome and like use what they do to further adjust their algorithm. And everyone was like, well, not everyone, but most people were like super shocked and appalled and all this stuff. But I remember just thinking like, duh, they do that. Like, why wouldn't they do that? Why wouldn't they use all the data they have to tune their algorithm even better? And so that just like further solidifies how important the website, the Google listing, the reviews, all that is. Because if Google sees people like reading your reviews and then going to your website, that's telling Google that they liked what they saw. But then if they get to your website and all of them click the back button and then go start reading someone else's reviews, it's telling Google that your website sucks. And that's going to hurt your, like, why would Google show you more if it's getting clear signals that your website sucks? And so all of this is just getting more and more important. Like someday people might just be wearing like virtual goggles all day and like never leave the internet. And this stuff will be even more important. But then I guess at that point, like you probably just have a chair that acts as your house and you never leave it. So you don't really need a lot of home services.
Yeah. So we figured out that the website and Google My Business account is the first thing to get onto. How much time does it take usually?
That's a Dino question.
Yeah, so basically what we do is if a new company comes to us and they don't have Google Business Profile or a website, first thing we try to do is set them Google Business Profile. And ideally that should take anywhere from like 5 to 7 days, ideally. But sometimes Google can ask for additional verifications, so that can turn into 2 or 3 weeks. Now, the website takes some time to build, so that usually takes us 6 weeks. So if a new company comes to us and they don't have anything, ideally we get them live on Google Maps and we get their website live within the 6 weeks. So that's the timeline that it takes to get on Google.
But how long does it take to get results?
Well, that depends a lot on the area, the competition, and also the number of reviews you get. So if you have a super high competition and you're in LA, like just getting your website live and getting 2 or 3 reviews and some website like probably isn't going to do much for you. So this is just to get you on the playing field and, basically get you to be able to play with, all the competitors. But usually what we've seen with the projects that we did, and we built websites and we worked with over 300 companies in the last few years, usually it takes anywhere from 1 to 3 months to start getting some leads in, overall.
Is that 1 to 3 months after the website and everything?
After the website goes live, yeah. Like we've seen cases where people get leads the same day, but we've seen also cases where it takes 3 months. So it really depends on the competition as well. Like if you have 50 companies in your area doing the same services as you do, and they all have like 100 reviews and you have 10, and they had websites for 10 years and all of those sorts of things, but you didn't, you just got to get to their level, and that takes time. So you can't really just get there as a new company and expect to beat all of these guys. It's the same way in sports. Like if you want to go play tennis, like you can't just go and play with Nadal. You just have to start working out. You gotta join a club, play some local tournaments, and it just goes step by step. Getting the website on Google is the first step. After that, situation can be customized depending on who you are and where you're located.
So you said that it can take that sometimes results happen like the day after the website goes live. Sometimes it takes 3 months. If somebody like comes in and they're a brand new company with no online presence, like how would you be able to tell them or give them an estimate on how long it will take for them to actually start getting customers?
Yeah, so basically we look at the most important thing we look at is their competition. And based on that, we can kind of figure out how much it's going to take them. Like recently, as you know, we started working with the tech company, and he lives in a rural area and he doesn't have a lot of competitors. And he wasn't showing up. It's a newer company. And he basically started getting leads almost the same day as the website got live. But that's because he got reviews and there isn't a lot of competition in his area. So that's one of the things. And we knew like that's what's going to happen. The other case is we work with a lot of wildlife control guys. And there's usually not a lot of companies that do that. They're great online. So when we do research and we see there isn't many other companies, we see nobody has reviews. And we know after we do our things right and a client gets reviews, they're going to get leads, guaranteed. So that's kind of how we can tell. And besides that, we have a lot of different tools that we use to check for all of these things.
Can you talk more about the wildlife companies? Like, what do you mean? Like, what are the good results they're getting because of the low competition? What does it look like?
Well, we work with one guy. He's in Minneapolis, and when he started working with us, he didn't have a website and he didn't have his profile on Google Maps. He was working a full-time job. I can't remember what job that was, but after, I believe, year and a half, he got so many leads working with us, he had to quit his job, and now he's fully focused, like 100% of the time on his company. And I've seen him getting more than 50 calls a month for those type of services overall throughout the years. When you count all of that in, that's like 500 leads a year for that company. And that's huge. Like if he closes like just 10-20% of those jobs, it's going to keep him busy throughout the years. These are the kind of stories that we hear all the time from the clients that we work with.
Do you have any other examples that you can talk about for wildlife control?
Yeah, there is, I don't want to name them, but there's another wildlife company that we work with, and they were super surprised when they started getting leads, like just a few weeks after the website got live. Like they had a website before, but it wasn't great. They weren't getting anything. At the first lead that they got, I remember the guy was super happy and like super excited. And he's like, this never happened before. Like, what did you guys do? So he is also doing really good now. He is, I believe, in business for 2 years already. So it's a good sign the company is going to, keep existing in the long run.
I think that's the most common question what I get from the clients. Hi, I have a website. I built it myself. It took me only 2 weeks, and now you're telling me that for your team, the website build out will take 3 months. What's the difference? What are you doing there, guys?
Do you want to answer the question, Chuck?
Dino, you're the one who manages these projects. Talk to us.
Yeah, what is that? What's the difference?
In a way,
building a website and building a website.
Yeah, so I like to compare it to, it's as building a house. You can get a few guys off the street and they can probably build your house. They can do something on the foundation, they can install some walls and do some roofing in like a few weeks and you can live there. It's livable. But if you want a really nice custom home, like you're going to hire a builder and that takes sometimes months and even years to build. So it's kind of the same with us. There's a lot of research and thought that goes into every single sentence that gets put on your website. A lot of details to the design, to the photos, overall layout, the strategy behind the website. So it just takes more time. We can build a website in one day, but it's probably not going to be the same website you're going to get if we spend 6 weeks building it. So, great things take time. Like Rome wasn't built in a day, it took time. So it's the same way with the great website.
Yeah, I would add to that one reason why we do, like if we had everything we needed from our client, we could build a website much quicker. But doing it over 6 weeks gives our clients enough time to give us the information and the photos and everything that we need in order to make it as good as it can be.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it takes them months to get us the photos that they need, right?
Yeah, it definitely does.
I like to explain it the way that, sorry.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I like to explain it in a very simple way to clients that ask these questions is that there is a front build out of the website that we see, right? And there's a back build out as well. The construction that it all holds on, okay? And that's something we do not see, but that's usually something that Google algorithm reads, okay? And our website needs to be also, so to say, hooked together with a Google My Business account. And that takes time, it takes knowledge. Usually it's 411 tasks that our team completes, right?
Yeah, or 400 items that we have to click on complete before we can finish one website build out. So
yeah, so the one thing is what you see and the other thing is also what Google reads.
Yeah, that's absolutely right.
All right. Once we establish the website and Google My Business account, that brings us organic leads in, right? And the next step would be usually SEO or some lead gen boost with advertisement. Let's cover that a little bit. SEO, Dino, tell me about SEO. It's 3 magic letters.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so again, I always like to compare SEO as going to the gym because the website is the first step and that's like signing up to go to the gym. And now you're trying to win the competition or you're trying to get leads with the website. But you also have other companies that are trying to get leads as well. And they go to the gym and they work out. Now, if you just sign up to the gym and you do a few workouts and then you stop, but the other guys are working out, they're eating right, they're sleeping properly, all of those sorts of things, they're going to beat you. So it's the same way. Like everybody's always investing in SEO and trying to show up as the best company in their area, the one with the most reviews, the best reputability, with the most as the most reputable company in the area as well. And if all of them are doing that and you're not, just over time, it's going to, they're going to beat you, unfortunately. So also like Google algorithm updates all the time. So things that worked 1, 2, and 5 years ago, they don't work anymore. And we get calls from a lot of companies that built a website 5 years ago. They did SEO, they were doing great, but nowadays they don't get any leads because they didn't invest in SEO throughout the years. They weren't consistent with all the Google's updates, and newer companies came in and unfortunately they just beat them. So things that work today might not work 2 years from now, and we got to adjust and we got to update their online presence based on that as well.
Very dynamic, right? Yeah,
Well,
I would
there's
go
some
on.
times where like weird stuff happens, right? Do you know, like that one guy's address changes
Yeah.
on its own? Like, tell us about that kind of stuff. Like, it's not just about forward progress. It's about noticing if something catastrophic happens and fixing it.
Yeah, so recently, just a few days ago, like all the people, all the companies that we work with, they're on SEO. We monitor their shit consistently. So almost every single day, we keep looking at their stuff. We make sure the website is up all the time. The rankings are good. Like if we see any kind of things that aren't right, like we want to act immediately. And the one excavation company that we work with, we just saw the rankings drop to like, they basically weren't visible on Google Maps. And we were like, well, what's going on? So we went in and we saw that Google automatically updated their address to Florida. And these guys, they're like in the central US, they're not in Florida. So it took us like 10 minutes to change the address back to their actual address, and the rankings went back within a few hours. Now, if we didn't do that and nobody had noticed that, a few months can pass by, like the client wouldn't be getting any results. He would wonder what's going on. He has the website, he's getting reviews, but it just wouldn't work. Things break online, like cars break, houses break, everything breaks. So it's the same way with your website and the SEO and Google and everything else. So you got to have someone that looks at that stuff consistently, because if they don't, chances are a couple of times in a year, something's going to break down and you won't know that it's broken. So that's also one of the reasons why you got to have someone just looking at just stuff all the time.
Yeah, it's kind of like fishing. SEO and your website, it's kind of like fishing. You got your hook out there, you got a worm on the hook. But every once in a while, if you're not catching fish, you got to reel in your hook and check the worm, because sometimes a fish came by and stole your worm. And if you never check the hook, you might be fishing without a worm for years before you notice. And I've seen that many times where people will contact us and say, yeah, we used to get leads through the website, but we haven't in a really long time, like 12 months. And, we want a new website. And we go in and we find out they were actually getting leads the whole time, but it was like the form was broken. It wasn't sending them to the wrong email, or just wasn't sending the emails. And something like that stuff happens all the time.
Yeah, and chances are, if people are just looking at their stuff, like a long time's going to pass before they take action to figure out what's actually wrong. They're going to think everything is right, but after a few months, they're going to, maybe something isn't, so let's check. And then it takes some time to find someone to help you figure out the issue, fix it. So it just takes a lot of time. And unfortunately, that time can cost your company tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars, because you didn't pay attention. So
yeah, for a lot of companies, and a lot of the companies we work with, like every lead counts. We know people who spend $20,000 a month on leads. They spend a ton of money. And if they miss 5 of those leads, that can not only be like a mistake that was cost thousands of dollars, but they lost the opportunity on those jobs. And one of those jobs might have been the one that made it all worth it.
Yeah.
So it's like you have to treat every lead like you need it, and make sure that there's no holes, no cracks where they fall through.
Yeah, every lead counts. Like recently, I talked to one of our clients. He's an installation company from Los Angeles, and he got one lead, and that one lead got him a bunch of referrals. And the dude made like 20, 30 grand just from that one lead, even though the project was worth like 3 or 4 initially. So capturing one awesome lead and doing a good job with that one might get you 10 referrals and 10 much bigger jobs that can keep your company busy for months. So you got to answer every call, every lead. That's super important. Like nothing else matters except that.
Yeah, like that can't be repeated enough. Like these people that don't return phone calls when people inquire, like one of those people could have been that client that refers 10 more.
Yeah.
Or that, we have clients at Kyle Construction who have been having us back to do work for like over 20 years. Like we have clients who've paid us over $1 million over 20 years just on all sorts of random stuff. And what if we like missed that lead in the very beginning?
No money.
Yeah, Chuck, like you mentioned already, it is online marketing is like a fishing competition. It's not an exact science. If somebody calls up and asks, how many leads can you guarantee? None. There's no guarantees. We can get some leads in for you. If you cannot handle your tools and get that lead in, that's on you also. For some companies, when it comes to the lead gen expectations, it's actually fine 6 leads in a month. For some companies, they need 50 leads in a month.
One of our largest clients only wants like 5 max a month.
Here you go.
Like good ones.
It's a big company.
The fishing analogy is so good because I see all the time, like commenters on my YouTube channel will say things like, oh, like when you're buying leads from Angie or something, like you should only have to pay for leads if they turn into a job. And that's like going fishing and being like, you should only catch big fish. You shouldn't catch any small fish that you can't keep. You should only catch the big ones. It's like, that's just not how it works.
Well, and
that'd be nice, huh? If you can only get all the jobs you need and everybody's happy for the rest of the
awesome.
lives.
We would be out of work.
Doesn't work like that. Sounds good, doesn't work.
Yeah, exactly. If you could just go to the store and buy customers, like that would be great, right?
Yeah, that'd be perfect. That's a new business idea. We're going to try that.
Well, and all these lead resell companies, it's like, a free cheese. I call it a free cheese. You know where you can get the free cheese? In a mousetrap. Okay.
That's a good one.
And just to everyone to be aware, if you are planning to sign up with some of these guys, double check all the fine print in the contracts. It'll be hard to get out of them.
Yeah, Chuck actually has some stories about that, like when he first started using one of these reseller companies, and they charge you like a few $1,000s, and he didn't even know that they were doing it, right?
Oh man, I have a lot of stories like this. Like, I think the one you're talking about is Yelp. Did these Yelp gives you like $300 free ad credit, and so I was doing Yelp ads, and I would check it like every day at first. And it just wasn't getting any clicks. And so it wasn't spending any of the credit. So I started checking it every other day, and then every week, and then every other week. And it wasn't getting through it. And so I started checking it monthly, and a month went by and I went in, and they had charged me like $800. So it had spent the 300 plus the 800 because all of a sudden, like out of nowhere, it was just getting like tons of clicks a day. But I didn't get any leads from it. Like I didn't see anything, any sign, except they said I got clicks and I had to pay for it. So that was a shocker. We also at Kyle Construction, we used Home Advisor, which is now Angie Leads. We used their service, or we bought leads from them for like 10 years. And this was back in like the early 2000s. And at first it was great. Like we would get like 30 leads a month or something, and most of them were good. People would answer the phone, and like we did really well on it for a while. But over the years, like we were getting less and less leads, and the leads were getting less and less good. We'd have to get like 4 to actually get an estimate. And eventually we wanted to cancel it. And it was really, really hard to cancel. Even though our contract was up, we told them like we don't want to renew, and then they renewed it anyways. And we actually had to go to our bank and be like, look, we told them we didn't want to do this. Here's the emails. Like we even talked to them on the phone, and we had to get like the charge reversed and all that. And then they called us for like 2 years after that, and they would call us all the time. And it got to the point where they would call and I would just be like, oh, hey, just a second. I'm right in the middle of something. I'll be right back. And I would just set my phone down and go back to work. And that was the only way to get them to stop calling.
Don't they have some dignity, like just calling people and nobody's answering you, like just hanging up on them? Like, it's weird. Like after a few times, you're gonna figure out like it's just not worth it. Let's call someone else.
Well, I've talked to some of their salespeople over the years, and they just have they have really high turnover. It's super high pressure. Like it's like sell or be fired, and it just creates a really ugly situation for everybody. Like, who knows? I haven't taken a close look at them in a year or two, so I know that they're constantly changing and trying different things. But I still hear from people pretty regularly who are buying leads and aren't very happy with it. So
yeah, just isn't working.
Yeah, and it's usually a pity to hear that people have built some credibility on Yelp. They have some reviews and an account and so on, and then they actually figure out that there's no autonomy there. Once you stop paying, everything
like
disappears.
they can remove your reviews. Imagine getting 200 reviews as a remodeler on Yelp or HomeAdvisor, and you stop paying and they remove it. That would be crazy. That's why people need to get reviews on Google, because it's free. It's not going to get removed or deleted. It might get suspended, but if that happens, that's the time to call us and we'll get your life back again.
Yeah, that's one of the main reasons we make content, is to educate people about this. Because I don't know how many people have asked me, like, how do I move my reviews from Yelp to Google? And it's like, you can't do that.
Yeah.
Like, I wish you could, but you can't. So someone who relied on Yelp or HomeAdvisor for a long period of time, built up a lot of reviews, and then it stops working for them and they decide to start, trying the Google thing, they have to start over with reviews. And it's just such a hit for them because it took them so long to get the ones they have.
Yeah. And it's not easy to get reviews. That's why they matter so much.
Yeah, absolutely. So besides SEO, where we do our magic to, put you more and more online and build more credibility for the business, what else we can do after the website is built, Google My Business account is established, what that would be?
Yeah, so basically once you max out on how far you can show up on Google Maps, because it's based on proximity. So the way it works is, if you're in Pasadena, chances are you're going to show 2 to 3 miles, maybe even 5 miles outside your radius. Like, you're not going to show to someone in like 20 miles from you looking for those services, because between you and them, there's probably like 100 other companies and Google is just going to show them. So there is a limitation on how far you can get with the SEO and with the organic. At that point, what you need to do is transition into paid advertisement. And Google offers 2 different ways of paid ads, which is local services ads and Google ads. That would be the next step after your SEO and the website and Google listing is fully maxed out.
Okay. What would work the best for location-based contractors?
I'm the biggest fan of local services ads, because the difference between regular Google ads and local services ads is Google ads is pay-per-click and local services ads is pay-per-calls. Regular Google ads, the way they work is someone clicks on your website and you pay a certain fee to Google, whether that's $2, $5, $10. It basically works on a bidding system. And let's say 100 people click on your list on your website, and you get 5 calls and maybe 1 or 2 turn into leads. With local services ads, you get 10 calls. Like, you only pay for those 10 calls. You're not paying for clicks. You're not paying for somebody just checking you out, doing the research, and every single call is recorded, so you can listen to that. Google also has an algorithm in place that automatically listens to these calls, and they give you a lot of money back for the calls that just aren't good. Like, someone is just in the research phase, they are asking for a job, it's a spam, it's someone like that. So that's what I like about local services ads. But both can work. It just depends on your strategy and also the amount of money you can pay. Like, a lot of companies, if they only have a budget of, let's say, $1,000, Google Ads might not work for them because there are other companies willing to pay like $20 per click because they figured out a way to be profitable if they spend $5,000 a month on local services ads on Google Ads. And we work with companies like that as well. But just starting out newer companies, LSA is much better choice.
So yeah, for Google Ads, me as a location-based contractor, I would need to outbid everybody else in my area, even all the big companies that spends a lot of money monthly in advertisement, marketing, and so on. With the local service ads, where I pay per call, I literally just pay for per call. It depends of the service. The call cost depends on the service. That is a very commonly asked question. What would be the ballpark of the price?
Yeah, I always say some people are so lucky because we have clients that are paying $400 per call, and we have clients paying $20 per call. And some people are just so lucky. They're in certain areas where there isn't a lot of competition and the cost per call is so low. But everybody can check that out. They can go to Local Services Ads official website, type in their zip code and their business category, and Google is going to give them a range on how much they should be paying. It's not 100% accurate, but it gives you a good idea on what you can expect to pay per call on Local Services Ads.
So yeah, there is a difference. If you're a handyman, there will be one cost. If you are a remodeling company or construction company, the cost per lead will be very different.
Yeah, I think most of the time it's true. It's the way I like to explain it, like local service ads, you're bidding and buying phone calls. Google Ads, you're bidding on and buying clicks. And when you buy a phone call, like it's either a good one or a bad one. But when you buy a click, you could buy 1 million clicks and still not get any phone calls or any actual leads. And so there's a skill involved in Google Ads that isn't involved in local service ads. Local service ads, you just buy calls from Google. Requires no skill. There's only a few things you can change: your budget, your services, your locations. And there are, we have plenty of evidence of making adjustments to those 3 variables and being able to get drastically different results.
Mm-hmm.
But with Google Ads, you have like 50 variables that you can adjust, maybe even more, because you're dealing with your website, you're sending people to your website. So now you have all the variables on your website that need to be dialed in. And when it comes to cost, I think and Google doesn't tell you how they price these things, but if I was Google, like in a large market, you're going to have some companies who have huge budgets, who have been running Google Ads for decades now, and they have like very really good data. Like you can see Google knows exactly how much they pay per lead. And in a lot of cases, Google knows how much they pay per acquisition and how much those acquisitions are worth. And so Google can go into a market like that, where let's say they're paying $300 a lead on Google Ads, and say, hey, we'll sell you phone calls and we're going to charge $300 because that's the going rate. If Google charged half as much as the going rate, those big customers would take away all their spend from Google Ads and put it all into local service ads. And Google doesn't want that. Google wants to get as much money as possible. So they're going to balance the 2 platforms so they can get as much money as possible. And so like the clients we have who get leads for like 15 or $20 on local service ads, they'd probably get those same leads on Google Ads if they ran them, or they are, getting roughly the same. And so at the end of the day, like Google advertising is basically like eBay for leads. Is you can go in, and if no one else is bidding on leads in your area, then they're going to be cheap for you. But if everybody's bidding on them, like you're going to have to bid more than everyone else if you want to get more than them.
Mm-hmm. So I want to touch a bit on the market this year, guys, on the market changes, trends. What can you say? What have you noticed? How's this year been?
Well, I read the other day that like the construction industry as a whole is down 18% in 2025 compared to 2024. And that would match what I've seen. A lot of our clients and people that I talk to who aren't our clients are saying that it's the months are hit or miss. Like you have a good month, a bad month, a good month, a bad month. And it's unusual because for the last, from 2020 to 2024, it was so busy. The whole COVID era, it was so busy for construction because everybody had access to easy money. Everyone was buying houses, renovating houses. And so everybody got used to that. But now it feels like it's going or has gone back to kind of the way it was before that, where it's just more difficult. Like you have to be better to win. You have to be better to be successful. There's no free handouts now as far as customers go because everyone's a little hungrier. So, and people are spending less money. So that's one of the trends I've seen.
Yeah, absolutely. As for me, talking with you guys, with location-based contractors every day, what I've noticed that there are companies that change with market. People are seeing that the clients are requiring more of a personalized approach. Everybody is overloaded in information. Nobody opens an email ads anymore, or hundreds of emails that we get in the email every day. But really, people are somehow circling back to human interaction more. A lot of companies that never had a handyman services, for example, are starting to offer the handyman service just to get the foot in the door, just to get to talk to the client, to interact with him, to build that trust. People really are not spending money so easily anymore. It's much harder to get a high ticket client just out of your website and Google My Business account. This is what I'm seeing, at least.
So people are adjusting to the market.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree on like the personalization thing. One other trend I'm seeing is like the move back to offline marketing. So like the referral cards that we've been talking about a lot lately, where you can hand a customer a gift certificate, and at the top of the gift certificate it says, $250 for you, $250 for a friend, and you can write their name on it and give them this. When they present it, they get a $250 discount, and you get a $250, check or cash or whatever. Those things are working really, really good. And I think it's just because nobody does that kind of stuff anymore. Like everybody's just so, 10 years ago, it was like, oh my God, you can do Google ads and websites and like get so many customers. And so 10 years later, everybody's doing that. So it doesn't work as good. And nobody's going door to door or handing out, personalized gift certificates or giving gifts and things like that. And so that stuff seems to be working. Our friend Michael, he was doing that thing where he basically drops off stuffed animal bears on people's doorsteps. And he texted me like the second day he was doing it and said he had already closed like $6,000 worth of deals from the bears. That's like weird stuff like that. He's dropping a bear off with a gift certificate, like, tied to it. Like weird stuff like that is working. And I think that's going to become more and more prevalent with the push, with all the AI stuff and whatnot. Like people are kind of starved for like human interaction.
Yep, absolutely. You mentioned a bit of these referrals, cards, and certificates. That's something that we actually are starting to offer to our clients as well. Printables as a marketing, meaningful printables. It's not just the flyers or something like that. Like you said, the gift certificates should be really something value that you can offer to your client. I always say that, if you have no other options, that your best marketing is just go door to door and talk to clients. And if you need them tomorrow, or you needed them yesterday already, the clients, that this is your best option.
Yeah, I would agree. Like,
Absolutely.
if you're in a really desperate spot where you're going, like you have to go door to door because you don't have any other options, then you probably could use the other skills that you develop from going door to door, like promoting yourself, your company, selling your services, communicating with potential clients, trying new things, putting yourself out there into uncomfortable situations, like all those things. Like, yeah, you'll get customers the fastest if you just go after them. But also you develop all these skills that help you in the rest of your business. So in a year from now, when you are buying super expensive leads from Google, you have the communication skills and the attention to the right details to make that work for you that you didn't have before. So I love door to door. I did it a couple years ago, and I got a ton out of it, and the results were like a lot better than I expected too.
Cool. Yeah, that's something I want to circle back and emphasize, that all your advertisement online is not a fast venture. You will not get results in the first week or in the first 3 weeks even, and it will take months sometimes to actually figure out the algorithm, to build up data, and to actually get it working. I see this common issue with Google Ads, for example. Yes, people pay a lot of money, and they're like, okay, where's the results? They don't come out in the first even month or so sometimes, right? And then the fastest way is this door-to-door approach.
Yeah, it depends. Like, if you're starting from nothing, you don't have any kind of ads going, it does take some time to even get started. Like, people underestimate that. They're so used to getting everything instantly, but if you don't have a website or Google Ads, like, we have to build you a website to run the Google Ads, and then we have to start running them and get enough money through them so that the AI that runs the ads like knows what it's doing. And same with local service ads. Like, we work with the pressure washing guys, who they already had Google Ads and local service ads. They just weren't working at all. And so we were able to go in and get them results in the first week. But it's because they weren't at the starting line. They were already, on the playing field. We just had to like tweak some things and get it working properly. So, if you're already on the playing field, you can get really quick results. But if you aren't, that's where you have to start. And I see this thing where people will come in and they'll talk to me and they'll be like, oh, well, I want to do this and that and this. And it's like, okay, well, it's going to take, a couple months to really get going. And they're like, oh, and then they don't do it. And then I talk to them a year later and they're like, oh, like I really wish I would have got started a year ago. And it's like, yeah, like, obviously, like when you talked to me a year ago, you were already behind, and now you're even further behind. I think, everything takes time. Going to the gym, like, you don't go to the gym one time and like all of a sudden you're a bodybuilder. Like, that stuff takes forever. And if you've never lifted a weight in your life, like, maybe you just start like with a walking around the basketball court. You start wherever you're at. So I think it's good on the next one, maybe we should talk more about expectations and bring some specific examples of the clients we've worked with so that people can see like real life stories and timelines, so they know like what they could expect for themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. Dino has this magic tool where he can track all the ranking in your area for your Google My Business account. So I love it. It's very visual. Okay, let's round this up with a last thing that I would want to touch is we're heading into off season for a lot of services in construction. What we usually see when the off season comes, and what would be our recommendations how to approach it?
Yeah, so if I had a seasonal business, like there's a few ways I would think about it. Like we have clients who they work, for 9 months of the year and then they just take the winter off. And if that's the kind of company you are, then you want to spend the off season really like gearing up to make the next on season good. So like doing your marketing, start marketing the year before for the next year, really pushing that. If I was the type of company who I had an off season, but I didn't want one, I might look for other services I could do in the off season. Like as a remodeler, I would build a lot of decks in the summer, but I'm not building decks in the winter. I'm doing bathrooms and basements and kitchens and stuff like that, all interior stuff. So, if I'm not already getting those leads, I would start pushing the bathrooms in summertime and lining them up so that I'm booked through the winter. And so like pre-booking things, the same pressure washing guys we talked to earlier, they're looking at doing Christmas lights. So, it's already mid-October. If I were them, I would want my whole Christmas light season to be booked by now. Like I would be selling that all year. Hey, did you know we do Christmas lights? Like here's a gift certificate, $100 off and priority scheduling, if you sign up by November 1st or whatever. And just trying to like think ahead. I think if I had to boil it down to one thing, it'd be like just plan ahead, think longer term. It's pretty common, especially for smaller businesses, to think really short term because they're always like, oh, well, where's the next paycheck? Where's the next project? How am I going to get through next month? But it's really hard to like make moves on that short of a timeline because as we were talking about, like everything takes time. So you really want to be thinking about next year, this year, and like doing everything you can now to make sure next year is really good. And if you always do that, then you'll continually grow and it'll be easier to manage. So, that's what I would do that's what I do in the off season. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I absolutely agree. You just gotta plan out. It's same thing I always say, like same as saving money. You can't save money when you don't have any money. It's when you have money you gotta save some. So same way with leads. Like you can't get leads when you're desperate. I mean, it's just way harder. So a lot of people, they cut their marketing costs at off season, but then the season comes and they're not showing up and they're like, what do we do now? Well, now it's not the time to talk about that. It was 5-6 months ago. So I hate when people make that mistake, and I hope less and less people will be making that mistake in the future.
Yeah, the gym analogy is so good because it's like you're at a bodybuilding competition and you're like, how do I get muscle? And it's like, well, you should have been working on that a year ago.
Yeah, it's the same way if you want a summer body with abs, but in September you're fat. You're like, I'm just going to start working out in summer. It doesn't work like that. You got to work out through the winter to get that summer body. Same way with leads. It doesn't happen magically, unfortunately.
Absolutely. Unfortunately, I see that a lot, that when the season has started already, okay, the first apparently money rolls in, and then there's a bunch of people that gets on marketing, but you should have been on the marketing at least 3 months before already, so that you start your season really with a good push. You're ready for it.
The sooner you start, the better.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago, right?
Yeah, that's a good one. Absolutely.